All right. Yeah, sorry guys. There was just some technical difficulties, but I think we're better now, and we're just waiting on, I believe, um, Michelle, Joyce, Adrian. Then we're just waiting on Adrian. Yeah, Adrian. And then we got, I think Joyce is coming too. All right. Anyways, I think I think we can just get started. We're already past time, so yeah. Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to the western portion of the Unisphere. I hope you guys are all having a great weekend so far, although it's the start. But yeah, anyways, to jump into it, why don't you guys tell everyone a little bit about yourselves? Cameron, why don't you go first? Because it's just by my screen order.
Yeah, hi. Hi guys. My name's Cameron. I'm in second year at Western University. My program is I'm trying to do an honors double degree in economics and BMOS specialization in finance. So that's currently the plan. Um, yeah, so that's just a little bit about me. I know Adrian actually goes to Western too, so I'm just gonna hand it to him, I guess.
Sure, yeah. My name's Adrian. I'm a second year BMOS student. So unfortunately, Victor told me to wear business formal, so that's why you see me in this suit. Um, Turns out I got scammed, but yeah, BMOS student, second year. Hopefully getting into IB next year. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
Jacqueline.
Hi everyone, so I'm Jacqueline and I'm in my first year of medical science at Western. And yeah, like Adrian said, feel free to ask any questions you have. And I encourage you to use the chat function in the Zoom call so like we don't get interrupted.
Alan.
What's up, guys? I'm Alan. I'm second year BMOS with AEO at Western, similar to Adrian. Yeah, similar to what these guys said. We're all friendly. We might look scary, some of us, but I promise we're all friendly. We're all in your shoes once trying to get into university. So just ask any questions you guys would like. We would be happy to answer any of them.
Michelle.
Hi, so my name is Michelle, and I'm in my first year at Western for medical sciences. And like everyone has said, like feel free to ask any questions.
And Joyce.
Hey guys, I'm Joyce. I'm studying second year at Western studying linguistics. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions as well.
All right. So since I believe we have a few people from a variety of programs, to keep it a little bit more efficient, since I know Joyce, you're in linguistics, right? So I guess a lot of questions you can answer for linguistics, but for medical science or business, I guess like one or two of you guys can answer instead of everybody, just to keep it a little bit more efficient. So, first of all, I'd just like to ask, why Western? What made you guys want to go into Western? Then one of you guys can just, um, answer if you'd like.
I could start us off. So I chose Western because of my program. Like I didn't exactly, like in high school, I didn't exactly say, okay, I want to go to Western no matter what. It was more because of my program. So I chose MedSci because of the variety of like specializations and modules I could go into in third year. And since I like throughout high school, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do after high school. So first and second year, I guess, of medical science is really general. So in my first year courses are just bio, chem, physics, calculus, and one elective. So I thought that that would help me kind of figure out what I really wanted to do. And so in third year, I would be able to specialize. And yeah, so that's basically why I chose Western, because of my program.
How about the business side? Would one of you guys like to
Yeah,
talk
sure.
about Western?
Yeah, I can start. Yeah, so obviously there's an academic side, and I would urge you guys, I guess, to keep that as like your top pillar, your top priority when it comes to choosing university, how it's gonna help you in your career goals and help you achieve those. But also like really close second was like, I guess, the social aspect and the people I was gonna meet. And I also urge you to do research about the clubs and the extracurriculars that you plan to get on university, because as much as university is a stepping stone in itself to, I guess, your career goals, it's as much of an experience, in my opinion. So make sure that when you decide which uni you're going to, check how the social aspect is, see what clubs you want to join, and also take that into heavy consideration. And for me, Western was a perfect balance between those two, which is why I chose Western.
And how about you, Joyce?
I think for me, linguistics is not like the first program that people come into mind when choosing Western, but another reason why I chose Western was because I did want to try to explore myself, like immerse myself in a new environment, and also because right now I'm doing double major in another small arts and humanities program, and they do a lot of experiential learning. So these are really like all valuable opportunities for you if you are interested in the arts and humanities. And I think like Western, even though it's not one of the top schools that come into mind, it definitely has its own like experience. So.
Right. But yeah, I think I actually agree with all of you guys. Yeah, I think, there's a lot of things to keep in mind, grades, extracurriculars, and all that. Speaking about extracurriculars, I know Western has quite a few popular extracurriculars. What would you say is like each one of your favorite extracurriculars? And we'll just start with like Cameron again.
So Western does have a lot of clubs, a lot of US student council programs and different things that you can get involved with. Personally, I really think that, well, I'm involved in like a few around the school. There's a bunch of different like opportunities for you to get involved. But when I was entering first year, I was really just, I had no clue what the possibilities were, what clubs existed, what clubs didn't. And in first year, I definitely think I got left out on a lot of opportunities that I would have loved to be involved with, just because I didn't know what was out there, just because I didn't know that these things existed. So entering first year, especially, I know a lot of people interested in Western, like a lot of people are looking at Ivy. So if you are thinking of entering Western, maybe you didn't get AEO, maybe you plan on applying during your undergrad to Ivy, definitely even more important for you guys, just do your best to diligently look around and go on Facebook, go on the USC websites, look for the opportunities, because if you just decide to drift by in first year and think, oh, like I'll just figure it out, that's just the way it is, right? You have to actually be diligent and try your best to put yourself out there and look for different opportunities to be involved with, because if not, you're going to have a hard time finding them. So right now I'm involved in a few USC programs with, like there's a lot out there. I don't want to list all the opportunities because there's just way too much. But yeah, biggest takeaway, do your due diligence and look yourself.
For sure. I think that's a big thing about extracurriculars. Like, and another thing about extracurriculars that I think applies to all universities is that if you're getting in first year, if you get into extracurricular first year, it'll be way easier for you to get into more extracurriculars next years, just because you add up the experience and also you gain more connections. So it's really important to get involved like right off the bat and don't wait. So yeah, Kim had a really good point. Would anyone else like to add anything? All right.
Yeah, sure. I'll add a little bit on that. Yeah, I think what Cameron said about extracurriculars is super true. Definitely do your diligence and things, but as much as you're trying, the university is trying in their part as well. So we have this thing called Clubs Week. So every year, usually it's in person. We have this big university community center. It's this big building at the center of campus, and then every year at the beginning, second week of school, all clubs set up, basically all clubs that want people to join set up in around the UCC, and then you can just walk around like 30, 40 different booths finding what clubs you want. And yeah, I would suggest I'm wearing the merch for it, but so I think it's obligatory that I have to shout CSA out, but Chinese Students Association or any social club, even in general, I think social clubs are really nice to be in. University is a hard time going into it, and like social clubs essentially just help you get to meet a lot of friendly upper years, friendly people around your age. Really makes the transition a lot easier, and you know they'll always have you for anything you need. So social clubs are really fun, really useful in my opinion. But yeah, make sure you just go to a bunch of events, and like Cameron said, do your due diligence on what clubs you want to join and such.
Yeah, perfectly said. I think, yeah, just the biggest thing, just get involved. You'll make so many friends from clubs anywhere.
Like
So
that,
yeah,
Victor, just one more thing. Yeah, it was like
yeah,
also like one thing is like it's really easy to get caught up in like all the big clubs with like a lot of clout. Like you hear like a lot of people, oh, they get this job because they come from a high position in this club. But honestly, just like do what you like. We have like gaming clubs. I was part of WEGA kind of last year, which is the Electronic Gaming Association. There's like an anime club. There's literally a club for like anything you can pick. Western is so big, and if it's not there, you can start it yourself. So like join what makes you, I guess, happy. Join what you're interested in, not just like because of the clout or whatever.
yeah, for sure. I think most importantly, just always stick to your passions. But speaking about passions, what is it that you guys like so much about your program? Like name one thing that you guys like about your program and one thing that you don't like about your program. And we'll start with like, we'll just get everyone's opinion on this, starting with Cameron.
Oh, so if you guys missed it, I'm currently doing an economics module and a BMOS module, specialization in finance. What I like about MOS specifically is it's really forgiving because in your first year you have two MOS classes and they give you a taste in HR and consumer behavior and finance and accounting. And from there you kind of get a taste of what your options are in terms of specialization and what you like and what you don't like, and you really get time there to think like what your experiences and what you find that you like a lot more than others. For me, those two classes really helped me decide on like my module. And I personally have not talked to any academic advisors. I don't really have an opinion on them as of now, but I think my program, it gives you some leeway in there, and deciding what you like, what you don't like, and what you're going to go into. BMOS has you specialize in one of, I want to say, around six streams in the end. And I think I really like that part because it kind of gives me personal choice in what I want to study more about, because I know there's a lot of other programs where you're essentially learning stuff you really don't care about, you don't like, you don't enjoy it, and that those little parts of your overall module. But with the BMOS stream specifically, I get to choose what I want and study and just drive into that, which I really like.
Yeah, what about you, Jacqueline?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, I guess the number one thing that I like about my program is the variety of modules I have in third year and fourth year. And I can specialize in honestly anything you can think of within medical sciences. And I guess the thing I dislike about MedSci is just, I guess, the class size, because like with online, you don't really meet many people, and like there's just so many people in MedSci that you can't really form, or like you need to put in a lot of effort to form like meaningful relationships with people. So yeah, like Michelle in this call here, she's also in MedSci, and we've only talked like twice before this. So yeah, it's I guess more difficult to find people, especially because everything's online now. But yeah, like people say as you go into your specialization, there's less people, like the class size is much smaller. And so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, speaking about online, we'll get to online in a bit and how you guys are tackling it. How about you, Joyce? What's one thing you like about linguistics and what's one thing you don't like?
Good question. I think like one thing that I really like about linguistics is like it really asks you critical questions about the world. It's like, oh, why are sentences phrased in a specific order like this? Or why do children acquire some certain words earlier than at the later stages? So also there's linguistics has like it's kind of could be divided in different aspects like morphology, syntax, and often if you are studying linguistics, you get to work with a lot of data sets. And like, I actually find that really, I guess, like when I need to de-stress, these are actually really, really helped me. And I think it's really interesting. And also linguistics, like it's not really a program, but it's like also just a module in itself that you can take other programs that are related to other disciplines like psych, poli-sci, not poli-sci, philosophy, French, Spanish linguistics. So there's different varieties for you to go into. And I guess one thing that I dislike is because linguistics is like a really, really small program here. So sometimes it's difficult to connect yourself with other students who are also in the program, especially getting support or just advice from upper years. And also the Linguistic Society, I believe a few years ago, it was still there, but then because of the lack of support, it can no longer be a club. So yeah, oftentimes I did feel like there's a little bit of disconnect in the program, but yeah.
And what about Adrian? You haven't talked yet, so what's one thing you like and dislike about UMass?
Sure. I'd say my response pretty much echoes what Cameron said before, and I would say what I like and dislike are extremely interconnected. In that, in BMOS, especially in the first 2 years, you don't really get to specialize in anything, and what you learn is extremely general. So, in comparison to other universities, you're certainly put at a disadvantage because of that. And so, yeah, so academics is probably not the main focus, at least in the first 2 years here. But on the flip side, it allows us to put a lot more emphasis on things such as extracurriculars, where you get to actually learn the things that you're passionate about or the things that really matter to you. For example, I'm part of a small hedge fund in Western that is private. And so there I'm able to actually act on what I want to do and do different trades or investing the way that I want to. And that's where I see the most benefit to learning.
Oh, Adrian, you're so cool, man. Hedge fund already? Are you already a banker? But yeah, Alan, Michelle, do you guys have anything else to add on to what Cameron, Adrian, or Jacqueline said?
Yeah, so like with what Jacqueline said, I completely agree with her. Like there's so many options for modules, but like one thing that actually made me, because people who go into MedSci, like they think about being a doctor, like that's usually the path that everyone wants, or like a dentist, but like no one really thinks about like doing graduate studies usually, or research, or doing anything like that. Because for me, what made me choose Western MedSci was because in fourth year there's a honors specialization that you can do, and you can do your own research, and then you can do a 1-year master's program after that, continuing on with your research. And I think that's so awesome because usually master's programs are like 2 years. And like that just gives me another option to pursue my research if that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I think a big thing we can all take away here is that for med sci, it's not just about being a doctor. I think research and all those other branches are also big things. So it's not just about being a doctor. And moving on, I remember Jacqueline, you were talking about online school. So I guess we'll get to that. So I want to ask you guys, like, what would you say? How are you guys handling the online semester? And like, I guess one from each like category can answer.
Let's start us off. You choose one of us. I think our screens are different orders, so it might be hard for us to see like which order to speak in. So you should choose for us.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. So all right, Alan, since you were talking, just go first.
Cool. Yeah, online school is definitely different. Yeah, first year was a lot better for me, I feel, because I really like structure. Like if I have a class at 9 a.m., I'll always wake up at the same time regardless. But yeah, so it's definitely been a difficult challenge transitioning. But something I found better recently is to, I guess, separate your work environment from your whatever chill environment. So if that means like, I don't know, cleaning up your desk and like putting away your monitor or something when you're working throughout the day, or like going downstairs versus working in your room, I think separating your workspace environment from like, yeah, where you normally true, it's like, I don't know, probably some psychology thing in your brain, disassociate the two from each other so it's less easy to procrastinate and whatnot. So yeah, that'd be my tip.
How about you, Michelle?
Yeah, so I totally agree because like I'm staying at home, so I try my best not to stay in my room because like I just become really unproductive. So instead, I try to move downstairs. And another really big thing that I've been trying to do is like time management and like organizing and scheduling, and that has been a big pain, but it really helps. Like I know when to stop doing a course because like otherwise I'd just be dragging it on. And like a disadvantage that I found was that it was really hard to communicate with professors, like especially professors that don't have office hours. Like that's really, really difficult to get like some questions answered for like a test, before a test, or like just homework questions. It's been really difficult to get that. And like, because the response time is like so long. So that's what I found was really difficult for me.
Yeah, I think communication is a big thing about online. And you know, like if you email professors, that's a big thing. Like when you email professors, it's really hard for them to sometimes get to you because of the amount of students they have. So I think communication's like extremely hindered. How about you, Joyce? How's online school for you?
It's mostly been pretty okay. I did find transition, there wasn't like a major difference compared to first year. But one thing was that because some of my classes are asynchronous, so it's really easy to just let yourself like slip and like just miss the lecture and then just forget about it a few days later. So one thing for me is like on my agenda, I would try to set a certain time for me. It doesn't have to be on a day when a lecture video is actually released, but just like scheduling a specific day each week for you to catch up on a lecture video and to familiarize yourself with the materials, make sure you're on the same page every week and don't fall behind. And also, like one thing for me is because we're always looking at the screen. So sometimes I would try to maybe like take 30 minutes just to take a walk outside, get some fresh air. And that helps me kind of, I guess, be away from the work for a while. And
I think taking breaks is a big thing as well, because a lot of times you're sitting there and it's really easy to lose focus. Actually, let me ask all you guys this one thing. Do you guys have any mandatory live lectures to go to, or are
Yeah.
all of yours recorded?
If you
Oh.
guys are going into, if you guys are planning on going into business, there are a lot of business courses, not so much right now, but I also do know in the future in second year and higher up courses, mandatory attendance is going to be a thing. You're going to get marked for showing up to class. You're going to get marked for participating in class. So you definitely don't want to miss out on those. But also in general, even if you do have asynchronous courses, personally, I have a lot, they're going to start to look optional, even though they're not. And you're going to find like, oh, I skipped a lecture. I'll do it next week. And then it's just going to pile up. And then exams are going to come. And it's a lot harder to deal with a bunch of classes you missed out on. If you know that your prof is going to upload a PowerPoint slide or a lecture, recorded lecture. My biggest advice, still wake up every day as if you're going to go to actual class. I know it's going to be hard, but that type of like self-discipline is so important. Even if you're waking up and spending like an hour making breakfast, like at least you're up is better than sleeping through all your classes, especially now that it's online.
Yeah, I think it's just online. It makes it really, really easy. Sorry. Oh yeah, so yeah, I think there are some new people coming in. So why don't every one of you guys just give a quick rundown of your program really quickly? We'll start with like Cameron, and then we'll move on.
Economics and BMOS specialization in finance.
Jacqueline,
I'm in med-sci, medical science, first year.
Alan,
And I'm AEO2.
Michelle,
First year medical science.
and Joyce,
And you're in linguistics.
and Adrian.
And same thing, BMOS with AEO.
So yeah, so yeah, back to what we were talking about. But yeah, I think it's really easy to just miss things. And yes, I think online mandatory lab lectures, it's so annoying because you just wanna skip it sometimes, but you gotta go. I think for science, I don't think it's not like that strict, is it? But yeah, for business, it's definitely like that. If you guys are thinking about going to business, there will be like mandatory live lectures that you guys have to attend. So yeah, I'm not. Now to the next question. I'm not sure if science or linguistics. Do you guys have supplementary applications for when applying to university? Okay, so it's just grades for you guys, right? All right.
But
so
there's an optional supplementary application if you don't think that your grades are high enough for it.
Did Jacqueline, Michelle, did you guys do that optional thing? Okay. So this is more focused towards the business students. So I guess all three of you guys can give your input on this. What would you say are like some tips that you can give for handing in like a strong supplementary application? Because I know AEO is it's a big thing for AEO. So we'll start with Cameron.
I actually don't have AEO, but I did the application. My biggest advice for that, the way what I wasn't what's different about the IB AEO application compared to the rest of the business supplementary applications that I've also done. I think it's like McMaster's. There might have been one for Ryerson, some other business programs. They will contact every single one of your references with an email. And those people will revise what you said. They will confirm, add comments, and then send it back. If you send the wrong email, they will not receive an email. Take your time and make sure you don't have any typing errors in your email references. That is like a pretty big thing. Also, when you're starting out with your top three, they will ask you to write essays on your top three involvement. From what I've heard with a lot of other people, maybe Alan and Adrian can talk about it more. Don't shy away from things like, I don't know, sport, different things that aren't necessarily business related. because with Ivy in general, it's also kind of ingrained in the nature of the program. They're looking for people from all sorts of different passions and walks of life. So you can see a lot of people who aren't just business centered entering into people from poli sci, people from music, people from linguistics and social sciences, and all different types of things that aren't strictly business. So if you have any passions that aren't, you know, kind of in that business stream, still included. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think, your application's a lot about like selling yourself in any way that you can. So even if it's not business, if it's sport, music, anything, like you got to put it on, try to make it as nice as you can, really put yourself out there. Alan, Adrian, do you guys have anything to say about the application process? Any tips to give?
I'd say adding on to the anything outside of business works as well point. I've actually seen one of my best friends who's a year above me. When I saw his AEO application, he actually wrote about his cheerleading experience and somehow connected it to how he learned about teamwork and all those type of things, and wrote 500 words on it. So it honestly comes to show that literally it does not have to be anything business related as long as you can spin a good story out of it and sort of relate it to something that you learn or some important skills that you gain from that experience. So it just depends on how you write it, not so much the content of it.
Alan, anything to add?
Yeah, I feel like Cameron and Adrian got the bulk of it. Like Cameron said, they will check your references, um, everything like that. Adrian and Cameron both mentioned how it can be on anything. I wrote about jazz band and ultimate frisbee as two out of my three um, extracurriculars. But beyond that, a couple tips I would say for you guys is to one, make sure it's written like it's very easy to read with like nice transition words and stuff, because like think of it from the perspective of the people who admit people into AO. It's like they're going through like thousands, even like, yeah, probably just thousands of these like everyday long paragraphs. It's like 1+ K words each. Like they sit at their table for like 2 weeks in a row just reading these. So like just make it easy on their jobs and they will appreciate it. So make it really easy to read. Get your brother, get your friends to check on it and edit it. Also ask for examples in the past to see what you're kind of looking for. Yeah, like if you have any upper year alumni from your high school, ask for their past applications, and I'm sure they would be happy. That's what I know a lot of us did. So yeah.
Yeah. I think the big thing to take from this is like make sure the references are correct. Don't make any spelling errors or like anything like that. And just talk about anything. You guys you can really expand so much on like your own experiences. So even if it was a little bit of a volunteering, whatever like that, like I'm sure you guys can make great stories from it. And always tell stories. Stories are so entertaining for anyone to read through or listen. So now we're gonna jump a bit forward in time, and I'm not sure, Jacqueline, Michelle, since you guys are in first, I'm not sure you guys have had any research positions or like internships or anything like that. But I would like to ask you guys, like going to university, everybody wants like a job, right? So what would you guys say in like if anyone can like feel free to jump in, but I'll start off with Cameron again. What would you say are like some tips to getting, an internship or like positions in like extracurriculars, internships, jobs, anything of the sort?
Specifically in my program, again, do your due diligence to look for these type of opportunities, because there is as far as I know, there is opportunities for BMOS students, specifically in third year, to do an internship. And then there are opportunities for second, third, and upper year students in general social science to do internships. And there's actually internships opportunities currently going on right now. I attended like an info session like a few weeks ago, but they're always there. And you have to, it's so important to do your due diligence and just look for them. There at Western, we do have a page with a bunch of like job postings, volunteer opportunities, and I kind of forget what it's called. If one of you know it, the volunteer work sphere website.
Yeah, it's something like that. Something.
Yeah, definitely look on there because that's where you're going to find all your internship programs, postings, co-op if your program has co-op. And it looks pretty daunting at first. So many buttons, so many words, so many things you don't exactly know about. But take time. Once you, maybe if you get into Western and you're just looking around, take like a good 30 minutes, just sit down, go on that page and just read through all the opportunities. Everything will be there. I could probably like find it and send it in the chat just so you guys can take a look if interested. But yeah, that's my advice. Sit down and look through that page.
For sure, yeah. Jacqueline, Michelle, do you guys have any input for extracurriculars or jobs, anything like that?
So to add to what Cameron said, on that page, I think like they also have like, students that are helping out with resume writing and like mock interviews. So like if you need help with those skills, like they get back to you like within a week if you send in your resume, and then they can fix it up and add some things like that you would need to actually make a really, really great resume.
Yeah, for sure. All universities have pretty good like career advising help. So definitely, you guys should definitely check those places out for any assistance. Joyce, do you have any tips?
I don't have any special ones. Like Cameron and Michelle mentioned, the Western Connect website was also actually really useful for me as well because there's no like strict linguistics internships. The subjects was kind of ambiguous, but a few times when I went on the website, there are a lot of recruiter information sessions and other similar events are actually open to a variety of programs here as well, including arts and humanities. So that was one thing that really helped me to look for opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And Adrian here, I know you had a job before, so why don't you tell us a little bit about your profession and how you got it?
Sure. So last summer I worked at a mini search fund based in Chicago, and I would say for internship you guys shouldn't worry too much about it, at least not yet, because you guys are still probably in high school, and so worry about it after you get into first year, and start thinking about extracurriculars before you start thinking about those internships, because how I got it is basically through a friend who I met from an extracurricular, and he hooked me up on this. So having those connections from extracurricular activities is very important. And I would like to emphasize that in first year, probably to begin with, try to cast a wider net in terms of extracurriculars, join different things that you see interesting, and then later on, try to narrow that focus down. And I guess a little tip on the extracurricular end is each of them probably charges you a $10 to $20 general membership fee. Don't pay for all of them. Some of them don't really offer much difference between general member and non-members. And so, yeah, just choose wisely, maybe ask some upper year friends like what they think of each club, and then go with whichever one offers the most value and pay those. Some of them, even if you don't pay, you can literally get the same thing out of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, big tip for anyone is network and always like try to communicate with people. So I think this applies to like, business, tech, art, and science, is that, you just got to network, speak with those people in your field. And I think networking can get you a very long way. At the end of the day, when you guys are, if you guys are going for a research position, if you guys are going for a job, it's always the referral or the person that you know that's going to help you give you a helping hand here and there. And you can then from networking, I think the big thing is you can learn a lot from just talking to other people because they just have so many different opinions, so many different perspectives. So yeah, big thing is just cast a pretty wide network when you get in, and the jobs will come soon. And and since we're talking to a bunch of people that are in grade 12 and maybe even some people in first year right now, if you guys were to go all the way back to grade 12 or maybe like beginning of first year, what are two tips that you guys tell yourselves if you guys were to go back in time and see yourself again? Cameron, I'll start with you again.
Oh, wow. That's a question. I was not prepared for that one for sure, but if I could go all the way back to grade 12, um, I think I would um, I would tell myself for the future not to, ah, I would definitely go to more classes in first year, that's for sure. I think once you're gonna realize maybe I should tell this story, maybe I shouldn't. Um, when you transition from grade 12 to university, all that what they say about it's a big transition, it is true. And the biggest thing, I guess you guys won't exactly have to transition in terms of this because everything's online, but going to classes, I was not a good class attender, let's say that. I ended up skipping 10 weeks of calculus, which was not fun, very not good. Um, but I still passed miraculously. It was pretty good. But please, biggest advice for first years in terms of classes, go to class. Go to class. Just do it. Now it's so much more easier. Just press a button, just listen, just go to class. Second advice would be it's okay to take your time and decide, what you're it's okay to feel lost. It's okay to feel lost. And with Western, you're going to get softs. Maybe we'll talk about that like later, but you're going to have a lot of opportunities to talk and get to know people. And it's okay if you feel lost. If it's okay if you feel overwhelmed because you will find friends. Don't worry about that. You will find friends, and it's okay if you kind of feel like really anxious. Um, but you do have resources, you do have softs, you do have mentors and people to look after you when you come to Western. So don't feel as anxious about being left out in terms of your social life because you will settle down. So yeah.
How about you, Jacqueline?
Yeah, so I'm in first year, and I guess the one thing that I've kind of learned in the past month and a half is that like a lot of people, at least in my program, are like kind of go go go, and they don't really like, they try their best to get like research positions or like other opportunities, and then they like, I don't know if it's just me, some people just like to brag and go like, oh, I'm on week 10 of bio, I'm on cycle 12, and I'm like, okay, sir, it's cycle 2 right now. And then like, I think the most important part is you need to understand people that are ahead in certain courses are definitely behind in others, and so you shouldn't feel intimidated by like how much they've done, because like everyone works on their own schedule. So if they're kind of just like rushing everything in one course but like not doing so well in the others, like is that really that great? And I guess my second advice to high school students would be not to worry too much about what is it, early acceptance, because like there's always, I think, at least when I was applying, there was this myth that like if you apply in like October, right, when you get your code from your guidance office, then you'll have like a better chance to get into whichever program you want to. I think it really depends on your grades and your supplementary. So you shouldn't really worry about trying to rush your application to hand it in early, because that doesn't really make too much of a difference. And yeah, I guess try not to really, I'm not saying don't listen to your family, but when your family kind of stresses you out and gets you to like like, why aren't you accepted yet? Why don't you have somewhere to go next year? I think you shouldn't really worry about that. Some programs admit people in like late May, so that's a long way from now. And I applied after Christmas, so like really late, I guess, since for me, the application deadline was January 15th. So yeah, I was, I guess, in the late cycle, but I got like a lot of acceptances in February and March. So like, I don't think you should worry about early acceptance and stuff.
Alan?
So jumping back, I guess, a little further in time, I would give advice to you as like grade 11 or 12 students. I would say just honestly to really be ambitious and give yourself credit because you guys have come a long way. Like I know like we're like uni students and like we might look like we have all of our shit together and stuff or whatever, but like we're all still people at the end of the day. Like I still play Valorant for like 4 hours every day, and I still hang out with my friends and everything. So like it's not as scary as you think. One, and two is like I'm assuming like everyone here grew up in like the Markham, Richmond Hillish area, Toronto-ish area, or an environment similar to that nature. And honestly, we are all like super privileged. Our parents, I feel like a lot of us can relate where most of us are probably like first gen. Our parents immigrated here for us and like, you know, put so much of their work and money for us to be successful. And in the same way, our teachers, you know, spend hours on ends. Our high school teachers, they're all so amazing. And just like everyone wants to see yourself succeed, see you succeed, and you have been given like the proper resources. And we like Markham, Richmond Hill, like our high schools prepare us really well, like a lot better than other schools. So we are coming into university. If you look at like the big 12, like we are a lot more prepared than other people. So give yourself credit and like be ambitious. If you're thinking about, oh, maybe I'll apply to this school, but I don't think I'll get in, so maybe I won't, just do it. Like you're a lot better than you think you are. So give yourself credit for that. And you guys have worked really hard. So just, I guess, believe in yourself and know everyone wants you to be successful and everyone's manifesting it. So like you can do it and like just shoot for like above the stars, and like even if you fall you'll be like at the sky. I don't know what the saying is like, but something like that. But yeah.
Alan, you should run for prime minister. I think with that speech, I think you get a lot of votes with that speech. Michelle, any tips from you?
Yeah, so like for me, it's only been like a month and a half, but I felt really overwhelmed at first because like there was so much work to do, and I felt like 1 week of university work seemed like a whole month of high school work, and like that was like a big transition for me. But you just need to like chill sometimes. Like don't think about it too hard. You don't need to like always be ahead of everyone else. Exactly like what Jacqueline said. If it's like if you're ahead in one subject, you're probably like behind in another. So like you don't need to worry too much. And then for my grade 12 self, like I should probably tell her that like just stop freaking out. You're gonna get somewhere. Like don't freak out about not getting into university or not getting into your top program or whatever. Like life works out funny, so it'll work out, don't worry. So just remember that. And also shameless plug, I have a blog account and a blog that I write about my program and about grade 12 stuff. So like if anyone wants to check it out, I'll post it in the chat. And I don't know, I've heard some pretty good feedback about it and people said that it's helped them. So if you ever want to contact me or anything, yeah, you can talk to me through there too.
Yeah, guys, check out Michelle's blog. So I think it'll be helpful. Maggie, I know you have a question, but we'll hold on right here. We still have Joyce and Adrian, and after they finish, we'll open the floor to any questions and answer every question. So how about Joyce? What are some tips that you'd like to give?
My Wi-Fi lagged out for a second, but I think the first advice would be it would be along the lines of time management because transitioning from high school to university in grade 12, I did have an agenda, but I found myself, it was okay if I didn't like try to keep track of everything on the agenda and ticking boxes off. Like personally, that didn't really work for me. But in going into university, there is more work going on and a lot more other stuff that are happening. So I think and because now you're compared to high school, you're not going to different classes at a certain time. It's more flexible in university. So one thing that I really kind of have to work on is trying to devise personal time for work and also just for other personal, I guess, activities and trying to find a balance between academic work and also just other commitments and also a sleep schedule. That's one thing that's important for university. And I think the second thing advice would be taking the initiative to reach out to people because in high school, I guess maybe there's like there could be a closer sense of bond that you feel between your teachers and your other classmates in your class. But in university, especially in your bigger programs like Med Sci or business, it can feel very isolating in a sense. Like even there's so many people, but I think one thing that will really help is don't be afraid to reach out to even just like other people in your class. Even if you don't know them, you could be like, hey, I'm in your class. Do you want to like study together? Or just talk to your professors. They're humans too. So they'll be glad to talk to you. Yeah.
And last but not least, this man in the suit himself, Adrian, you're the last one. So give us some damn good tips, please.
All right, I'm just gonna keep this short and crisp. I guess the biggest advice I'd have for my first year self would be just try to join more things, meet more people, especially things that I don't usually consider, you wouldn't consider. So, for example, I guess one of my biggest regrets would be not joining social clubs like Alan did. And as a result, I wasn't able to meet as many people from different backgrounds, and that's definitely not a good thing because, of course, the more people that you meet, the wider your connection is. And so just try to consider different possibilities that you probably haven't considered before and go out from there. And don't be shy, reach out to people, especially upper years, because usually they were in your shoes as well. And most people are very happy when someone reach out to them and they get a little bit gassed.
Right. Adrian, why don't you show us your suit?
For those of you who came late, I'm wearing this suit because Victor told me that it's business formal. So I don't know why I trusted him. It's not that I'm a very serious person, so don't think I bite. It's because of this guy.
All right. But yeah, I think that answers the question that I have for these guys. Now I'm going to open up the floor for anyone else to ask any questions. So yeah, feel free to type the question in the chat or feel free to speak. Maggie, I believe you asked if everyone was nervous about their applications and whether or not they'll be accepted. So yeah, I'll just ask Adrian, were you nervous about your application?
I'm in a more special situation in that Western
Oh, yeah.
wasn't my.
Yeah, Adrian, tell us about your story. Actually, I think it'd be a nice thing to hear for everyone about your application.
Okay, so originally I rejected Western in pursuit of law and business dual degree back in University of Hong Kong. For those of you who follow the news, Hong Kong, there's a lot of political tension there. So during my summer, when I went back to Hong Kong, more and more stuff arose. And then I had a lengthy discussion with my parents, my relatives, and thinking about it, I decided to email Western back around late August and to take me back. They replied pretty much the last week, and I hopped on a plane 2 days later and flew back to Canada. So probably quite different experience compared to other candidates here.
What an adventure, yeah. How about Jacqueline and Michelle? How did you guys feel about your application when handing it in?
Okay, so for medical science, like Michelle said, unless you feel like your grades may not be up to par and you think a supplementary would help, there really isn't anything to our application process. You really just go onto OUAC, you click Western Medical Science, and then it asks you for your like prospective module that you want to go into. That doesn't really make a difference. So honestly, you can click whatever you want if you're not sure yet. And yeah, so that's basically it. And if I was nervous about my application, I guess I was less nervous about this one than my other ones. So I actually applied to McMaster Engineering. I wasn't really gonna pursue engine. I just wanted to see if I would get in. So, and then there was like an interview process. So I think that really helped me in like video interviews because that was like a virtual one. But yeah, I wasn't really nervous about my Western med sci application because it was really just my grades and I knew that I had done the best that I could in high school. So yeah, I think just try your best to get your grades up in high school. People usually say like the 90 range is a pretty safe spot to be in. I would say that is pretty true, at least for my program. On the website, it says, I think 87 is the cutoff, but I think they accept more people than they say they do, at least in my year. So yeah, as long as you try your best in high school, then you'll be fine for your application.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is like you just have to trust yourself, you know, like if you guys gave it your all, there's nothing else you can do. And when they say average of like 80 something, like just get a 90 something because like who wouldn't want to see a 90 on your grades. So yeah. Joyce, do you have anything? How did you feel during your application? I know it's only grades, but were you like nervous or anything?
I was a bit nervous because I wasn't very familiar with the linguistics program at Western, and when I first applied on OUAC, it's only under arts and humanities, so there was a little bit of uncertainty. But since there wasn't like a sub app, I guess there wasn't as much compared to if I was to apply to other programs.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, does anyone else have any questions for us? All right. But yeah, if right now actually if you guys don't have any questions right now, if you want to know more about like your program or universities, you can actually check out like the University Insights page on iAscend website. So I'll just send that in the link right now. And then here you guys will find like a bunch of different informational blogs from different students across different universities. And if you guys haven't checked it out yet, we do have a giveaway. You know, you could win $100. All you have to do is just follow the steps in there. It's pretty simple. So check out our giveaway on Instagram. You can win $100. It's quite a bit. So yeah. And then we just in case for I guess if anyone has any like lingering thoughts, like I guess we can all just put our emails or LinkedIn's or whatever down in the chat so like they could contact us for any like personal questions or anything like that. So like I'll just put mine in there. And then if you guys would like, you guys can put it in there too. So yeah, if there's no other questions, well, yeah, I'll just wait till everyone sends in their contact information and then.
Yeah, I'd just like to add currently from 11 to 12, we have students from Guelph who are talking on another Zoom call. So if you go to iAscend's website, you can find the link in like the cube.
Yeah. So like I think Guelph is about to starting right now. So if you guys would like to find out about Guelph, go ahead and check it out. But this concludes the Western section of Unisphere. Thank you to all the speakers. I hope everyone learned a lot from you guys. Thank you so much for everyone who came. And yeah, okay, bye guys. Have a good day.